Hi everybody, I'm Stan Zaslavsky from Eagle Vision Property. Welcome again to another one of our interview with the property development experts. Today I bring you Peter Motalli. Peter has been a property developer for over 30 years. I've actually met Peter in 2003 when he was working with a development site that was a little bit out of the ordinary, and I'd actually have Peter tell you a little bit more about it shortly. But really what we wanted to talk about is a series of videos on how to buy a site with a permit already in place and what needs to happen to assess whether the site is going to be viable or it's not. So Peter, welcome. I guess tell us a little bit more about Herbert Street.
Okay, thanks for having me, Stan. Well, there was a site in Herbert Street, Northcote, that we developed back in 2000, the acquisition, and we completed that development in 2003. So a bit of the history on that one there was the acquisition that we purchased from the Crown. So it was a Crown land, government land, Victorian government. It was zoned industrial, so it's pretty raw land, and it was actually back onto a railway line. So there was a lot of constraints, and so we need to really look at this really hard, and a lot of time, a lot of thought, a lot of consultants involved. But with the acquisition of it, it was a straight out clean contract, so it was just a purchase, 10% deposit, settle it, so you couldn't get any terms or anything like that. So we really had to do a lot of due diligence prior to purchasing it. So anyway, we proceeded and we ended up purchasing it on the day of auction. We proceeded to first of all, we had to overcome, one of the issues was the constraint with the railway line was one. So that was one. The other issue was it was zoned industrial. So having industrial, you couldn't build residential, we had to rezone it. So what we decided to do is to have two concurrent planning applications. So one to rezone and one to put an application in for a residential dwelling. So we went for an apartment building of 20 apartments and also 8 townhouses on the site. So it's about 2,400 square metres. And also the other constraint is it was very long and narrow. So one end was only 7 metres deep, the other end was 12 metres. So backing onto the railway line. Yeah. So we proceeded, and it took about 2 years to actually go through the whole hoops and the planning process, obtaining the permit and also the rezoning. So what we did at that time, because it was a long process, ended up going into 2003. So we constructed the first stage we decided was the townhouses, the 8 townhouses. So we did that, and to split it up, and then to proceed on stage 2, which is build the apartments, just to sort of de-risk the site rather than sort of putting all that money in at one moment. So we proceeded with that, and having said that, at that time the townhouses were completed, the market did shift. So 2003, 2004, the market did shift. The apartments market was a bit of a glut. The construction costs escalated, and we were trying to get this off the ground was becoming very difficult. Getting the construction costs skyrocketed. The pre-sales were coming down, trying to get them sold, so it just wasn't working at all. So we had this huge parcel of land, a permit for 20 apartments. What do we do with it? So back to the drawing board. We sat down, went through it all again. We decided, okay, well, looked at the market. What was acceptable in the market, what was still working, was townhouses. Right. So the townhouses market was still great. People still buying the townhouses. The construction cost wasn't such high because it's more of a residential development, so commercialised, and it did work. Fantastic. So back to council, back through the planning process, we obtained 14 triple-storey townhouses, a permit for that, and then having said that, we were able to actually on-sell the project quite quickly for about 1.650. On-sold up quite quickly to another developer, which they immediately started constructing on it. So just gives you an example of things that, or planning applications you can change or you can amend or need to look at it more thoroughly, and also taking into account of the market change, because the market does change. If there's oversupply, it will change. If there's undersupply, it will change.
And just to show how fluid the process can be.
Yes.
Rather than just being stuck to what.
Correct. You've got to be open-minded and really look at the market and what's acceptable to the market at current times.
Excellent. Look, thank you for that. That's all the time that we have for today. But in the next set of videos, as we said, will be more feasibility discussions and how to improve and optimize sites that may be on the market right now.